Hello, welcome to the video on beginning your research and writing your research proposal. What are the options available to you? There are two options. You can choose either a thesis or a strategic commercialization plan. However, before we explain the differences between the two and the different proposals you are to write, we need to actually reinforce the fact that this is for an exam. Your thesis or your strategic commercialization plan is actually going to be graded, and it is worth 24 ECTS credits. The completion of this module, MP6062, is also worth 3 ECTS credits. Also remember, the final product, be it your thesis or your strategic commercialization plan, must get a grade of a C3 or more in order to graduate. How is it assessed? It is assessed by your supervisor and a second reader. So what is the thesis? What does this mean? What is it? It is basically a carefully argued scholarly paper which presents an original argument that is carefully documented from primary or secondary sources. What's important here is that it is an original argument, and that argument is posed by you, and it emerges from you. The thesis basically should have a substantial research component to it, and that research can emanate from primary and or secondary research, and it has to fall within business and written under the guidance of a supervisor. The thesis gives you the opportunity to show your expertise over a certain topic area that you want to become an expert in. Essentially, the thesis proposal determines the what, why, and how. The what means the identification of a topic or subject under examination. The why explains the rationale and the need for this research, and who, in a knock-on basis, has an effect or benefit from this research. And the how is how you basically are going to gather this information and how you're going to inform the debate on the topic. So the outline of the thesis is your title, the purpose, and the purpose is basically providing an overview of the topic and why you consider it noteworthy for research. Here you draw on from your rationale that you may have already identified. The proposal identifies an aim and then objectives in order to achieve that aim. This can be written also in a question format. Then your proposal will identify your proposed methodology. So how do you propose to obtain the relevant secondary and primary research needed to answer the research question? The theoretical framework is highlighted. Here you're identifying what literature will help inform your investigation. Your thesis will identify your timetable, and this is basically, and you can take it from February onwards, of what you will do in February, March, April, right through to September, which is the 12th of September being your submission date. Limitations should be also identified in your proposal, and these could be conditions beyond your control that place restrictions on what you can do. And from those limitations, your supervisor would hopefully give you guidance on how to overcome. And if in your research proposal you identify, for example, maybe a gap in knowledge and understanding, or maybe a report that identified that this subject area is important to research, and you would identify those references in your proposal. So that's what a master's thesis is, and your master's thesis proposal. Again, please refer to the detailed guidelines that are contained in the resources section on SOLAS. So what is the Strategic Commercialisation Plan, or SCP for short? This involves two components: the technology or product and the business model. Basically, the objectives are to successfully develop and launch a new product or service within the minimum possible time and cost. The Strategic Commercialisation Plan is about identifying the key success factors of the business, and it has a 2-year time frame, and it should act as an internal compass to guide towards business growth and success. It communicates the story of the business and why one of the stakeholders, which could be the investor, should be willing to choose this investment over any other. And the next point is very interesting. It's basically should be guiding you on your strategic commercialization plan, and that is the story should be compelling and convince the reader to get involved. The characters are identified, the plot being how you make money, and the future, the exit and return on investment, is clearly developed and understood. So this is what the strategic commercialization plan should be about. And what are the 4 key features? The 4 features are viability, visibility, capability, and credibility. And these 4 key features are explained in more details in the resources section of the SOLAS webpage for this module. So what are the key elements of the proposal for the strategic commercialization plan? You identify the proposed title or name of your business, the background and status of your idea. How did the idea emerge? And how developed or tested is the concept to date? What is required to bring the idea from concept to commercialization needs to be explained. Your plan, aim, and objectives are also identified. How do you propose to obtain the relevant secondary and primary research needed to answer your research question in the aim and plans? What are the issues and challenges in completing your strategic commercialization plan within the time frame identified? What is the time frame for the completion of your strategic commercialization plan? Again, being cognizant of the 12th of September as a submission date, and any references used to develop this proposal. Next is how it will be judged. It will be judged based on the clarity of your research aim or objectives, or your business idea, the knowledge and understanding of relevant literature, how that has been analysed, and ensuring that it's current and up to date. The approach adopted to complete the thesis or the strategic commercialization plan. Also the professional nature of the presentation of your findings. The comprehensive analysis and interpretation of findings in a holistic and/or integrated manner. The professionalized presentation of the whole body of information, and the overall assessment of the body of work. I'm going to finish up this section of beginning your research and writing your proposal on giving you a couple of guidelines on conducting a research project and about starting to think about your research from early on. So, advice on conducting a research project: start thinking about it from early on. Think about the modules you completed last semester. Identify your research question and try to actually ground it in some form of literature or some form of gap or business gap that's out there that will lead to your strategic commercialization plan being written. Use your supervisor. They have knowledge that you can use. You need to manage your time and resources. Your time is limited. You are limited by the fact that it needs to be in by the 12th of September. For both your thesis and your strategic commercialization plan, you need to search the existing literature for relevant information. Prepare for your research. Upskill yourself. Learn about how to use the various tools that are out there. Analyze your results and then write up your research from early on. Don't leave it to the very end. So it is actually worth giving yourself a good deal of time to think about your research. Reflect on what you have done. Reflect on your understanding of what gaps there are in the marketplace for product ideas and services. Consider about what puzzles and intrigues you, why you should spend that period of time researching it. Look at what models, concepts, theories are available to help you answer your questions. What styles and techniques are appropriate for you to use in your strategic commercialization plan? Maybe you want to talk to businessmen or women. Maybe you are good at talking face to face rather than gathering quantitative results. And finally, managing your time. Time is obviously important. You are constrained by your time and resources. Do work out a plan with your supervisor. Do always think about the end of August, beginning of September as the deadline date. Know what resources are available for you to use, and this is where interacting with your supervisor, with Dr. Aoife Lenahan from the Writing Centre, with Peter O'Reilly in the KBS, who is the KBS librarian. Use these individuals because they will help you along the path to your studies. Thank you very much. I hope this video has been of some use to you, and I look forward to reading your proposal.